Hello and welcome to my home. Today is video number 3 on growing microgreens, and in this video I'm going to actually plant some microgreens, talk about water, lighting, and those types of things. But before we go there, I want to let you know I have other types of videos on my channel. I have easy to prepare recipes, I have videos on growing various vegetables in containers, and I have product reviews and some meditation videos. So let's get started on growing some microgreens. Like I mentioned in the second video, you want your containers to be nice and clean and rinsed out really well. They need to be food grade containers. That just means that food can be stored or cooked in it. And you can use containers that have holes in it. And this is one of those metal pans. I poked holes in there for drainage. But you may not have something like that, in which case you can use a container that does not have holes in it. For example, this was just a pastry container, and I washed that out and rinsed it. I didn't do a good job of removing that label, but that's not going to affect the inside of it. It doesn't have drain holes in there, but I just have to be more careful in the watering. So the medium that I'm using is a soilless medium. It's called hemp, and I'm gonna take you over there and show you that. The one I've been using is from Terra Fiber. I am not related to this company. I'm not affiliated with the company, but I found their growing mats to do pretty well, and it does grow pretty much just like that. It seems to be a pretty healthy medium. So this is what I'm using, is the hemp. The hemp has two sides to it. It has this white looking side and more of the tannish side. The white side goes down into the pan. And what you want to do is you want to soak these. You don't want them drenching wet. You soak it for the initial seed application. And I'm going to do that right now. I just have a very shallow pan of water, which I can also use that pan to grow microgreens in as well. And I'm just going to take the pan, drop it in there, and let it soak up. And that'll take a few seconds. You can kind of push it down in there to get it going better. You can see how it's changing colors. I'm going to give you a closer look. It's getting darker and darker because it's getting nice and wet. Now you don't want it sopping wet, so I let it drip off. So there you have it. I've gotten it all nice and wet. You saw me put that lid under here. That was just to catch any water that might be running off from the pads. So that comes in handy for that. We're also going to use the lid on top of the pan to kind of turn it into its own little hothouse with the lid on there to help keep the moisture in there, and we'll be watering it as we go along. I want to show you the seeds. The salad mix, it has a variety of different salad greens in there. See the different colors and shapes and sizes. And I'm just going to sprinkle it over, just like you were sprinkling, you know, seasoning over something you were cooking. Or if you're someone who does arts and crafts and you do those little sprinkles over things. I don't make it complicated for myself, so I find that this sprouts just as well. And of course, the closer you put them together, the more you have, but you don't want to overload it. And you can spread them out just like that. So even though I did soak the pads, I do want to go ahead and spray the top with some water. I'm just going to spray. Again, you don't want it sopping wet. You want to control the moisture, because if it's too wet, you're going to promote the growth of mold. And that's not what we want. Now we're going to use the lid and put this over it. Like that. I leave a little air pocket over there. And this is going to have to be covered up so that there's darkness over this little dome, because they're going to sprout under the cover of night, if I can use that term. I'm going to cover it with just a clean kitchen towel, like that, until they sprout. And I'll show you that as well, because once they sprout, they're going to be kind of yellowish looking. And then you're going to expose them to sunlight. You're going to remove this, remove that dome, and then they're going to start turning into your microgreens. Right now, what you just saw me do was the very beginning stage of it. Once they sprout and they get a little yellowish looking to them, we're going to remove that cover in the dome. And I'm going to show you that next. It is now a few days later. I'm going to uncover these. Now, yesterday I did water them, and I'm going to show you the difference between watering a pan, which is under this cloth that has holes in it, versus the containers that I'm using that do not have holes in it. So let's start with the one with the holes in it. So there she is, taking you in closer. You can see they're starting to sprout. See the little white stems starting to come out? And I'm just going to pour some lukewarm water in the bottom of here. Set the pan in there and let it soak up from the bottom. So I'll be right back. These two containers do not have holes in the bottom. This is a cereal bowl, and I use this one again to put it over top to also help keep some of the moisture in, but also to keep the light out, because when you're germinating your microgreens, they're going to start off in the dark. And these are my alfalfa sprouts. And back here we have our radishes. Now for these, you're going to water these differently. I'm just going to use a spray bottle. You know, always check. You may not need to, but usually every day you're going to have to spray. And you do not want it to be sopping wet. Just nice and moist, because they are really wet. I'm going to pour just from the corner some of the excess. Don't freak out if some of your seeds come out. That's okay. They hadn't rooted yet. And you can pick those seeds back up and put them back into the medium. So I have taken off the lid and the towel. They are now tall enough to get some of this great sun. Yes, it snowed overnight. We got about 6 inches in that area. Look at the trees filled with that snow. But there's a lot of sun coming in here. Take in a little closer. And they're a little yellow at first when you uncover them. But as they get more and more exposed to the sun, they'll start to green up. And they're still not ready to be harvested as microgreens. Look at that freshness. That's just so pretty and so easy to do. Give you another look at this one. Now this is a couple of days after I uncovered the microgreens, and you can see they have grown. They've gotten darker in green color. And they have that true set of first leaves. These are the microgreens, and they're ready to be harvested. Now the next video I do, I'm going to show you some simple recipes where you can take advantage of all this tasty deliciousness.